It's time to recap what's happening. The Russian bounty. The only one that seems to really be interested in this is the New York Times and, of course, the Democratic Party. You know, this idea that Russians paid Afghan soldiers to target Americans. Can I just say a couple things about that because I haven't said anything about it? Number one, no one cares. And number two, no one believes that Russia had to pay Afghans to shoot Americans. Does anybody really believe that Russians went over there with a whole lot of money and they were paying jihadists to shoot us? The jihadists didn't have an ideology to erase the great Satan, i.e. America. We were the invaders. We're not supposed to be there. We're anti-Islam, anti-Muhammad. They hate us. They hate our society. They hate everything about us. And yet they needed Russian rubles to get motivated to shoot us. Give me a break. This doesn't even pass the laugh test. The president is going to Mount Rushmore for the 4th of July. He's going to deliver one of his great patriotic speeches. And, of course, it's going to be a celebration of America, capped off with, of course, a spectacular fireworks display. Well, Democrats can't have this. First of all, Democrats, most of them, I'm talking about the radical left in the Democratic Party, they hate America. We're not supposed to be exceptional. We're not supposed to be leading the world. And the 4th of July, that was just a declaration of our so-called white supremacy. Remember, we had taken natives captive when we came here and discovered this place. Then we were going to declare ourselves as a nation, which meant that we were going to expand westward, which again, we would be, doing horrible things to natives and other people were enslavement. How dare we celebrate that? We're celebrating the American ideal. And that American ideal is near perfection when it's actually carried out, when it's actually lived up to and implemented. The Democrats do not want President Trump to have that image. Him standing there, Mount Rushmore in the background, the swell of patriotism. Because right now, coast-to-coast municipalities are not having fireworks displays for the 4th of July. Now, a lot of them are copping out and they're saying it has to do with COVID and coronavirus. Give me a break. They don't want to be labeled as racist. They don't want protesters showing up. Well, all they're doing is creating a whole lot of other firework displays, which are going to happen and spring up all over the country now. You cannot hold back the fact that the United States has been one of the single greatest forces for good on this planet. Now, that doesn't mean that we've always lived up to those ideals at home, but we have certainly taken incredible strides to live up to the words of our own Constitution. And we can sit here and we can get holier than thou. We could say it should have never come to this, and it should have been that way since day one. Yeah, yada, yada, bang, bang, boom. But people are people, and it does take time. And I'll say this, for all of the shortcomings that you have a problem with America and with the Constitution, if we didn't have that incredible document, none of the wrongs of the past would have ever been righted. Oh, they never would have happened to begin with. Think about the time and the era in which all that went down. It might still be the same today. And by the way, Democratic Party, if you are lamenting why there hasn't been more substantive change for the black community, maybe if you hadn't executed 20 million of their members, we'd have equality right now. We'd have the racial peace that we long for. We would have all kinds of medical advancements and new technologies. But because you and Margaret Sanger, that eugenics whack job, and Planned Parenthood, specifically targeting the, quote, human weeds of society, the black population, 20 million of them have been aborted. We don't know that the one who was supposed to carry the legacy for Martin Luther King, who would have brought peace by now, didn't end up, I'm going to say it crass, sucked through a tube and then out in the garbage disposal. Is that a little too crass? A little too direct? And I'm getting sick and tired of being lectured to by Democrats about systemic racism. Well, who's in charge of the system? You are. Who is it that runs universities and colleges that we are told are racially biased and not fair and not equitable and not equal? Who runs all that? You do. And you have for 50, 60 years. Who runs every major metropolitan city in this country? 90% of them run by Democrats. You guys run the system. So if it's racist, you're the ones that have been running it. Black America, wake up. It's like listening to Hollywood constantly lecture us about equality for females. There needs to be more female directors. There need to be more females recognized at the Academy Award. And, and every year it's the same thing. And I just simply laugh and say, it's your industry. You fix it. What are you taking to social media for to whine and whimper and complain about it? It's your system. You guys write the rules for Hollywood and how you do things. You write the rules about more female directors are needed and more, equal pay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You lecture all of us about these things, and yet you fall short of it yourselves. It was Democrats who so pushed drug policies and crime bills in the 1990s that have disproportionately incarcerated Black America. By the way, what president is it that's been commuting those sentences and giving out pardons that the media never talks about? Oh yeah, Trump. So if there is systemic racism, Democrats are in charge of the system. Make no mistake about it, and I'm not going to stutter, stammer, or skip when I say it. Democrats are racist. They created the KKK. The Dixiecrats would not push through civil rights, so Johnson had to go get Republican support. And to this day, Democrats are still very much intellectually and institutionally racist. They all live in their nice little safe gated communities. They will come out, they will throw gas on your fire, they will get you all revved up and fired up to disband the police and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And wait till you see what the Democrats will ultimately want to replace them with. The Democrats who are in charge of the system that you keep voting for. They've put you in segregation. They've put you in ghettos. They've put you and located you in places where everything is against you being able to better, improve, and make it. Remember that come Election Day.